Oh, start now. Welcome to ChattyCoffeeCrew. Here is the host, Shyzabox. Oh yeah! Whoa! Yeah! Whoa! Oh! Hey, girl, get out of here! And the horse you rode in on. Excellent, my apprentice. We'll take it from here. Oh, hold on. Apprentice, get back here. We're not ready yet. Hold on. Entertain the nuns of masses that are here right now. Yes. Yes. Yes, Internet. Show this boomer how it works. No, please don't. Huh? Don't talk to the Internet like that. Huh. Well, excellent. Apprentice, what are you still doing here? Get out of the way. This is our show. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome nuns, to the one and only Chatty Coffee Crew. And you might be saying to yourself, like, we don't feel welcome still. And we get it. We're still under construction. We're still not top of the bottom of the line. But, hey, you know, we're getting there. Not only do we promise to consistently never improve, but the only thing that'll improve around us is things that are more creature comforts for ourselves, like a finished wall, or, oh, you know, a place we could call our own. You know, whatever, however that goes. But that's beside the point. We know why you're really here, Miss Click. Okay, well, we know why we're here, and that's to bring you the conversation and the topic and everything surrounding weather. And whether you like to admit it or not, weather seems to affect pretty much everyone that it affects. It could be on a daily basis or even a recurring basis with which one finds themselves contemplating how weather intermingles, and is a part of their life and routine. You might be saying, well, that's a little too obvious. Everyone has a window. Do they, though? Do those that dwell in their mom's basements have windows? Okay, luckily we have one that overlooks the street. We see the feet of people walking by. Stay down there, basement dweller. Hey, we get it. We're not trying to come out of the here. We know where we belong, on the ground floor, bottom level. Anything else you watch is better, obviously, but you have to have a ground floor level, and we call dibs. We're the crappiest internet celebrity that can exist. We call dibs. Someone has to be one so that everything else is, you know, good. And you might be saying, well, there's a lot of good content out there already. And we understand that, but they can't be on all the time, so you have to contend. You know, you throw us on in the AM hours when you're going to sleep and you mute it and you just let us reap the benefits of, you know, the view without you having to actually experience the adventure. What adventure? I don't know. It starts sometime. Let's check these ones of chat coming in. Hi. Yes, hello, hi. Excellent. Now back to the show. You know, we don't want to get sidetracked and fall behind from all these ones of comments coming in. But, holy cow, there's another one. We have to stop the show again and address the ones of comment. Hi. Yes, hello, hi. All right, back to the show. So, the weather, right? It affects you when you wake up. Sometimes it affects you when you're even asleep. Say you're sleeping and you like the air conditioner running, or a fan running, or a sound machine running. It doesn't even have to be someone running in your room, working out at 6 a.m. Mom, I don't care if your job starts at 7. Figure out a different time to fucking work out, or get the treadmill out of your fucking basement, you know? And it's like, why doesn't she just choose a different time to work out? People are trying to sleep at 6 a.m. But no matter what, if you're sleeping, the weather can affect you. I can't run outside today, honey. It's raining. Well, it's called a raincoat, Ma. You know, maybe if you'd asked for one last Mother's Day, My brother would have got you one. Yeah, anyhow. So, the weather can affect you while you're asleep if you do like running things like air conditioners, fans, anything like that, because say you lose power because of a storm. Well, you're affected. Welcome to waking up hot and sweaty as hell. You might not want to because you like sleeping with the air conditioner, but whoa! A storm went ahead and the weather took out the power. Or was your neighbor tripped a breaker because they, didn't know that you're running on their circuit as well, an extension cord with which to power an internet show. But, don't worry about it, neighbors. Shh. That cord's been there for years, ever since we moved down here. Stop changing your Wi-Fi passwords. You think we like breaking into your house when you're gone to get the new one? Jeez. Wait, what? No, that never happens. Let's check up with these ones in comments before we accidentally stray too far away from the topic at hand, which is weather. Hellos. Yes, hellos. All right, damn, back to the show. Excellent. So, weather can affect you while you're asleep. Like we said, you lose out on your, air conditioner, your fan, you're out of power, you wake up sweaty. Oh, where's the air conditioner? Oh, I'm so sweaty. Let me take this blanket off. And then it's like, I feel all nasty, right? Well, you can thank the weather for that if it is the cause of taking out the AC. So, there you go. See, weather affects people even when they're asleep, even when they don't know it. So, need to say, all ones of you joining us, welcome to Chatty Coffee Crew. We have been talking about, trying to talk about the weather. We keep getting bogged down by these ones of comments coming in, and we segue a little bit, but we try and stay on topic here, as everyone needs to stay on topic in their lives. Get a, point of direction and direct themselves to, or something, I don't know. But by now, of course, you should have your coffee. It's not a requirement. It's not a prerequisite, but it is in the title of the show. So, it can be tea, water, juice, milk, whatever. Whatever suits you. But in our case, it's coffee, because it's the name of the show. So, you don't have to have one to have it. We do the chatty part. We do the coffee part. All you have to do is click on the video, mute it, and go to work. And we get the view, and you don't have to hear it. Oh, fantastic. Symbiotic relationship. We're like that extra alarm, like, oh, this dude's on, I better go do something productive. Click on and mute. See you later. But on those rare occasions where you do stick around, where you're like, oh, nothing better on. All the good celebrities are not doing good stuff right now, so looks like we're stuck with crap. And we fit the bill. So, weather. On those days that it's glorious, that it lines up and is so majestic that it's like a godsend that came down to be perfect for you. Say you're planning an event that's outside, a barbecue, a picnic, a birthday, a date, a first date, a wedding, a proposal engagement, I don't know, going to a park or a playground or a amusement of the park. Nothing like buying tickets to Disney of the land and then having the rain come and say, all the roller coasters are closed, assholes. Why don't you shell out another $1,000 in a month or two to make it back down here? No, not the case. You think we can get these free tickets all the time? Not gonna happen, So the weather can even affect those that, don't want it to affect them. Such as those cases where you miss out on what you're doing. You're trying to hold an outdoor barbecue birthday picnic party, right? Well, the rain might put a little dampener on that parade. It's not a parade, it's a picnic. Okay, the rain might put a little dampening on that picnic. Come on. Fine-tooth comb here. But the point is that, if you want something lined up and perfectly majesticified, and you want something fantastic, weather-wise to line up with your event. You want it to be good weather. And good weather generally consists of weather that doesn't ruin an event or something like that. So, we can't say that we haven't been part of sports teams, and believe you me, the other teammates might not have wanted us on the team, but league rules stated all kids must play. So, needless to say, after our mom won that argument, rule books are there for a reason. Associations, if you didn't want all kids to play, you should have stated, not Shyzabox. But we come with a new set of rules. What are those? I don't know. We make them up as we go. Huh. Sounds like a risky way to live. Oh, it is. Maybe a little too risky. But the point is that, the weather has even affected sports teams that we were a part of. Say there was a soccer of the game, or a baseball of the game, or a football of the game, believe it or not, they let us on all those teams when we volunteered to play in them, or when our ma shelled out the loot that it cost for us to play in them. But no matter how you look at it or anything like that, the weather affected a variety of those sporting events throughout our entire lifetime. Sometimes it rained, sometimes it snowed, sometimes there was lightning, and they're like, we gotta call this baseball game early. Or, hey, have you ever seen those videos of a bunch of players struck down on a field that's pretty laden with water, and then there's an electrical current that hits it from, say, the clouds? It's not a pretty sight, so generally speaking, they get the kids off the field when there's lightning sighted or thunder and lightning sighted. Well, I do the one rule that applies, or the two rules. You don't play in thunderstorms. So they call the people off the field, and as a kid, you're like, oh man, I don't understand why. As a grown-up, legally by the state and adult, you're like, well, there's some crazy-ass videos out there, kiddos. Get off that field. Thunderstorm in the distance. And then it's like, oh, perfect. Catastrophe averted. And even if a catastrophe wouldn't have resulted, better to be safe than sorry. So, when you're having an event and you want the weather to line up beautifully and perfectly, say you're doing an outdoor beach wedding, which, Mr. and Miss Johnson, we wish and hope you well. We had a blast at your outdoor beach wedding. And believe you me, we get to talk about an outdoor beach wedding now, and for reference, we're going to use that experience. We went to an outdoor beach wedding once. We believe it was a Mr. and Mrs. Johnson's outdoor beach wedding. And it was, because we were there and we know. So, the weather at times seemed like it might turn on a dime. Like it might be like, no, I want to rain out this entire parade. It's not a parade, it's a wedding. Okay, I want to rain out this entire wedding. Okay? And then, guess what didn't happen? It didn't rain. It stayed away. Nice light breeze. Perfect amount of sun and warmth light to accompany the event. And lo and behold, a planned outdoor wedding coincided at the right place, the right time, with the right weather in order to come to fruition, to bring these individuals together under the union of lower taxes. No, love, whatever. The point is that, if it had poured rain, say that they were like, hey, we're going to plan our wedding on the beach during hurricane season, right? And it just so happens that, tropical storm or a hurricane was rolling through the beach. They're like, well, these rates are really good right now. We got to jump on these. Let's go ahead and book this event. And they send out the invitations and stuff, and, everyone starts looking at the weather as the event date is approaching. They start going, wow, That tropical storm sure is looking like it's going to hit that exact point I'm going to be traveling to a wedding at. They keep up with it another day or so. It's like, wow, sure is strengthening and becoming a hurricane. That's not good for anyone who's having to go to a wedding right fucking there where it's headed. Oh, good, it dissipated and went away. Well, I better head to that wedding. And you go, and you just hope for the best that that hurricane won't turn back and go the other way. And if it lines up, then it's a perfect, turnout for a planned event. But if you have to evacuate said area because a tropical stormy hurricane thing is coming, then obviously you better hope you get that deposit back. And a lot of those deposits are non-refundable. So that's how it goes. Anyhow, we're talking weather. We're talking how it can affect you when you're asleep, by one example. How you hope for it to be, good, depending on what you're wanting to do event-wise. We've talked about birthday barbecue picnics. We've talked about weddings on the beach. What we haven't talked about is professional sporting events. Okay? Now these work a little differently. When a professional sporting event generally gets canceled due to inclement weather, okay, if it's not a sport that endures and continues on, if it's not in a closed indoor stadium or arena where weather is not a factor, or it can be controlled in one way, shape, or form via closing off the top dome part to rain, sleet, hail, snow, or they just, are just enclosed to begin with. The ones that aren't, the outdoor stadiums, the open air stadiums, okay, all of those ones, if there's a horrendous condition or things like that, sometimes games are not playable. They'll have to relocate entire games to other regions, areas, stadiums to accommodate the playing of such. Some games get rained out and delayed. Look at baseball games. If there's any of the open air stadiums there, and there's a heavy, heavy downpour, they'll, cover the field. They might delay it and wait for the rain to pass over. It's not uncommon in the past for games to have continued hours and hours and, hours later and stuff into the wee hours of the night. Look at double headers, things of that nature. Baseball's crazy. Really a lot of good stuff there, too. We should probably watch more baseball, but we don't sport so much nowadays. Anyhow, the point is that even professional outdoor areas, arenas, things like that can be bogged down by the weather. Some situations and scenarios call for a complete canceling. Say you're determined and geared and you have tickets to that event and the weather closes it down. And they move it 4 states over into another arena. They're like, hey, your ticket's good over here. Surely there's ways that the organization takes care of people in those situations and scenarios, but it's a very big inconvenience for those that take off work, plan schedules around, buy tickets for a variety of people. I got company coming into town. There's a game that weekend. Let me get them the hell out of my house and let's all go see a game. However it works out. You get them, the event gets canceled, rained out, changed to venue or location, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I guess I'll have to scalp these and trick someone if we ever make it to the playoffs. I mean, that's illegal. Don't do that. So, the weather can even change events and scenarios like that. But say there's other situations and scenarios where someone took off work to partake in something or another, and the weather affected it. Okay? Say, let's tie this into homebodies. Who are like, the weather can't potentially affect me. I never leaves the house. That ankle bracelet and, all those restraining orders really inhibit where I can go throughout the general populace in my town, city, community, and or local area. But ankle bracelet be damned, the story gets to go wherever it wants to. Say you are a homebody and you don't like leaving your home, and there's a new video of the game that comes out, right? And say sometimes you do have to leave your home for things like, I don't know, work, okay? and you're like, I'm going to take this Tuesday off, okay, because that's when I get this game that came out. They change release dates from Tuesdays. Okay, I'm going to take this Friday off so that I can play this game, right? And so you line up your schedule, or whenever the game comes out, I don't know, you prepay early to get early access. Yeah. You take a day off in order to play said game, right? Say it's an online connectivity multiplayer game, right? Oh, you see where we're going. You take the day off. You load up your Call of the Duties multiplayer. Ew, why? I don't know why. This is just an example. Use a different one. You load up your Pokemon of the Go multiplayer. That doesn't have one. I don't know. It does. The battles, surely. You load up whatever game with multiplayer. Good? You load up whatever game with multiplayer and Wi-Fi goes down. Internet outage. Because of a storm. Because of the weather. And you think to yourself, well, I guess I can just continue not playing this online game I took the entire day off for, right? So the weather can affect you, absolutely. And if the weather affects you negatively in those ways, shapes, and form, then obviously it's almost like you wasted an entire day off. You should have just taken the next day off, or called it a half-C day, or go into work and pretend you didn't take off, and like you've been there all day. They're like, hey, I thought you took today off. No, I didn't want to take today off. I said Monday. They're like, oh, well, good. Have you been doing a lot of work today? Absolutely. Well, I mean, not really. The Wi-Fi's down. Did you know that? They're like, oh, I guess so. Well, I guess we're paying you for nothing today. You're like, absolutely you are. Just like every other day. But the point is that even in those scenario situations, circumstances, and events, individuals are indirectly affected by weather. So, whether you like to admit it or not, we could spout out examples and scenarios, situations, and events where weather plays an extreme factor in it, because weather is a part of our daily lives. People check applications around weather. People plan weekend trips around predicted weather. Is that always true? No. There's a leniency in some of that reporting, right? It's like, well, I give it a 50-50 chance of rain this weekend. Like, oh shit, you're right on. Let me give you a raise. I don't know how you get this stuff so correct all the time, but your predictions are insane. It's like, yes, they are. They are. That's why we're worth that raise, Bob. And believe you me, high five, Bob. The point is that weather can incorporate itself into all elements of plannings, functions, and just basic living endeavors and experiences one has in their life. And, you know, if there's one thing we haven't done yet, believe it or not, it's go through the different types of weather. So, that sounds like about 1 to 2 minutes worth of content. We're going to jump on it. So, there's sunny days. There's partly cloudy days. Partly cloudy and sunny days. Rainy days. Snowy days. Hail days. Overcast days. Windy days. All right, well, I guess it was like 30 seconds of content. Surely there's more, but, you know. This show sucks. Yeah, well, we still have this much coffee left, so embrace the suck. No, thanks. No, fair enough. But you leave now, you won't hear the best story of them all. What is that? I don't know. It's when another stream starts. And if you leave now, it's not on right now, so you're not going to hear it. Obviously. It's going to mess up your algorithm so bad that, believe you me, you're not going to be able to find it. That's just how it goes. So anyhow, as we were saying, there comes a point in time with weather and things of that nature where you find yourself basing all aspects of your life around it. Okay, kind of unbeknownst to yourself. It's like, wow, I didn't know I pulled up the weather app that much, or I didn't know I looked out the window as much as I do. What season is it? Is it cold? Is it rainy? Is it snowy, icy? Do I need my umbrella today? Do you have an umbrella? I don't know. Those are all questions you got to ask yourself regionally on where you live and what you have and what, the weather presents itself to you as being that day. But if there's one thing that we do know is that everywhere has weather. And whether you like to admit it or not, it affects the choices you make, the decisions that other people make, and a variety of aspects of all elements of your life. Say that you are a pizza delivery technician. Now, in our case, we were a professional pizza delivery technician for a variety of years, and within that time frame, we came to find out that when there was inclement weather, rain, sleet, snow, hail, it was times like that where our services were a much needed addition to the community. Not only did people need to not go out in that crappy ass weather, they needed some other poor schlum to do it, and that was us. Believe you me, most of them were fairly grateful. Thanks for trekking out my order. Now get the hell off my property. Yes, sir. Sorry. Here you go. I'm reporting you for playing loud, vulgar music. Like, what? Well, sir, I get your point. It was pretty loud, and it's definitely vulgar, so apologies. But if you call my boss, I'm going to be back here later to ask you if you know anyone hiring for a job. Like, okay, I'm not going to do that. You just keep off my property. I'm going to request someone else next time. Oh, sir, everyone always does that. That's fine. Then you go about your day. But in those circumstances and those events where the inclement weather is so much to bear, it's like, I'm not going out in this. Hey, order a pizza. Order some subs. Get some grub of the hub. Someone else will do it for me. It's like, oh, fantastic. Then it's like, oh, looks like we're going back out in the rain. And those professional delivery technicians, they get the job done. Not to be understated. And it's when those inclement weather conditions hit hard that just like mailmen, rain, sleet, snow be damned, we will not be stopped in our endeavors to bring to all ones of you that want this Grubhub or pizza order goodness to go unanswered. We will brave the elements in hopes that because we bring you a pizza in the snow, you give us an extra $5. And a lot of times some people do that. And drivers appreciate it. People who work for tips certainly appreciate it. So certainly, on those snowy days, on those rainy days, they go into work thinking to themselves, wow, the weather is affecting me today. I might get a couple extra bones. Maybe a little bit more cheese in my pocket, right? Everyone needs more cheese. Well, the money kind, not necessarily the other kind, especially if you're lactose intolerant. Be like, nah, I don't want no cheese, just give me the cash. Fair enough. The point is that those individuals, they go into work, they go into, elements of their lives, things of that nature, and they find themselves inherently hoping for those more bad weather days. Being like, man, I kind of hope it rains today. People usually take care of me a little more, right? They usually shell out a little more love because they're having a poor sap like us drive in the snow or the rain or the sleet or the hail. And believe you me, it's work, and they are well deserved in those situations and scenarios and events, and surely most of them would agree, like, yes, that is mighty kind of an individual to show a little extra love in those inclement weather times, in those, poor conditions and things of that nature. So whether they go to work hoping that it rains a certain day, or they go to work on a hot, sunny day and every other order stiffs them and doesn't give them a single tip or anything like that, those drivers face those conditions. Okay? Look at Amazon and the Prime. They are pretty up on it as far as how they've spread out and do their delivery service. They got their own fleet of vehicles. They got third-party vehicles. They'll utilize on occasion even stuff like UPS and, post office. We've seen stuff coming. I mean, it's crazy. You got a variety of ways that they have manufactured their, logistics to get stuff out to the customer. And they're successful. And rain, sleet, snow, a lot of that stuff be damned. They'll get it to you. Now, they have dwindled a little bit in their thing. That's a whole nother episode. We call it Amazon shortcomings. But, they did dwindle a little bit in their delivery time frame. They don't necessarily, depending on where you live regionally, some places it's improved exponentially. Some places it's the same. Some people it can suffer depending on what time of season or year it is. But Amazon's shortcomings as far as reaching those minimum 2-day prime delivery turnaround, service and things of that nature, they've changed. They've shifted gears. Now they'll offer and incentivize the customer to get their product a little later and get a digital $1 due. And they're like, oh, fantastic. I don't really need that extra spatula right now that was on Amazon Prime Deal Day. I need it, right? And they go, yeah, hell. Send it to me a day later, give me a digital $1 due, and I'll get an episode of Bluey. Or, I don't know, whatever you watch. That's on Disney. Well, I don't know. Maybe they sell it on Amazon. They don't. I don't know. Maybe they do. They don't. I don't know. We're not looking now. We don't care. The point is that they'll incentivize the customer to do without the apparatus and the entity of Amazon Prime living up to what it promises to deliver. It's like, hey, it's hard for us to meet this deadline. How about we kick you a digital $1 due and you just shut up about it when it doesn't come in those 2 days or less? And generally speaking, it's a good trade-off. If it's not anything that you're direly in need of or anything like that, where you're like, hell yeah, no. You give me that spatula now. I got shit cooking on the stove. If you got stuff like that going on and elements like that are, taking place and things of that nature, then obviously you're not going to wait. You're like, what do you want me to use, my hand? Who remembers that episode of Malcolm in the Middle where Reese, of course, it was in the eras where he was like extremely good at cooking. He was cooking that like big giant fish in the oven or whatever. And he's like, it has to come out of the oven at exactly 45 minutes, whatever, right? And he's like, where are the oven mitts? And they can't find them. He's like, it's got to come out. And he braces himself. He braces himself. He grabs that pot so that dish isn't ruined. He burns the hell out of his hands. He brings it to the table. He's like, quick! Move those pot holders so I can put this down. Right? Well, he burns the shit out of himself, right? Which isn't good. Obviously, you're going to want pot holders, things of that nature, when you're removing stuff from the oven. But if you look to that episode for how one will, make it happen and get it done, then there are times when, because of a need of it or because of weather be damned, you tell Amazon Prime, no, I don't want that digital $1 due incentive to not get my product. You make it happen. You Reese that stuff from Malcolm in the Middle. You get that package out of the oven and you bring it to my house. I will move those pot holders for you. You might burn your arms. You might take a couple, dips in the red. But you can tell Amazon that and they'll make it happen, generally. But the incentivization offers remain there. They remain a great thing for the company to cash in on when those times come, when those weather conditions, when those logistical conditions and things of that nature inhibit them from moving product from point A to point your house. Again, stop ordering shit, whatever, The point is that those incentivization offers, they really do help drive their business to thrive and be able to continually reach their demands. Maybe if they have you hold off your package for 1 day, they know you're going to order 3 more things in about 2 more minutes. So they're like, hey, if we don't give it to you now and we give it to you, with all your other crap, how about we give you a digital $1? You're like, well, that's not the 2-day prime expectation for delivery, but hell, you're giving me a digital $1 due. Well, hell yeah, send it with the other stuff. That's fine. And it's like fantastic. They get to send that crap later and logistically say Bob called out of work that day. High five, Bob. What'd you take day off? Bob called out of work that day, and you're like, there's no one that's going to be able to bring these packages to you until we make Steve work a double. Oh, Steve, you're working a double today? High five, dude. Bob called out. So Steve works a double that day. He's not going to be able to get that package to you until probably like 12 midnight. Hell, Steve doesn't like working past 11 midnight. No, that's not midnight. Whatever. He doesn't like working past 11. So your package be damned. He talks to Amazon. He calls his boss. He's like, you better offer this dude $1, man. I can't drive no more. I'm tired. All right, Steve, if you don't make this happen, then Bob's going to replace you. It's like, Bob's not even here. I'm replacing him right now. Yeah, and he's going to replace you. High five, Bob. Way to keep Steve on his toes. So, the point is that Steve then, hold on. Sorry, management's calling. What do you want? We were on time. We're doing the show. Uh-huh. Well, no one really knows what we're talking about. Yeah. That's fine that we lost you. Don't worry about it. It's our show. Okay, well, it's your show that we're doing. All right, well, stop interrupting it. I swear, management thinks they know how to run the place. But anyhow, where were we before we were rudely interrupted by work? Ah, yes, weather. Well, the weather can get crazy. The weather can get fun. It can be a great day when you're playing in the sun. You can walk in the woods. You can run in the park. You can stay out late on the beach in the dark. No matter how you look at the weather, no matter what your desires for the weather to be, in one way, shape, or form, whether it's your desire for it to be a dark, gloomy, rainy day so that you can work at your job and hope that no one else comes in because it's rainy and the only people on the road should be delivery drivers, right? It's like, man, no one wants to go out in this. Well, except for Karen and her 12 kids that are like, okay, let's go wreak havoc on society. It's like, damn it, Karen. Don't you have phone calls to make and managers to talk to? But anyhow, so they're out there. But, you deal with those couple customers that come in on those days when you don't want them to. And, the delivery drivers on the road. Otherwise, you kind of bask in the glory of a slow day due to weather. And by the time night shift comes in, you hope to be the hell out of work because by then everyone comes out and about and they're like, well, we didn't get to go shopping earlier. It's time to go now. And of course, Karen's like, well, we're going again. Time to wreak havoc on society. It's like, damn it, Karen. Don't you got phone calls to make and managers to talk to? Jeez. But anyhow, that's just how it goes when the weather is what one wants it to be. The coffee's getting a little colder, a little older. We're down to about this. If you have any questions for a real-life crappy internet celebrity, boomer one at that, feel free to ask them now. Find out all that solicited advice we can give you of pretty much how not to live your life. Feel free to throw it into the chat of the box now. It involves typing and, yes, participation, but we understand why no one would want to. And that's okay. It's Chatty Coffee Crew because we can chat stuff out by ourselves. And no one may want us to. We might not even offer valid points that contradict ourselves, and when they do, they contradict our valid points. You might be saying, I don't even know what that means, but you can blame everyone for not participating to make it any iota, way, shape, or form better. Otherwise, now we just sit here drinking old crappy coffee. But believe you me, we do that for all ones of you that do watch this. Hi, Mom. Anyhow, where were we? Ah, yes. Weather. Weather's crazy. Does anyone have a favorite type of weather? Dare we say, we enjoy kind of fallish days, where it's a little overcasty-ish. A nice breeze, a nice cool temperature. That's probably one of our favorite type of weathers. But some people love those really bright, hot, sunny days. Some people long to live in the snow. Some people enjoy chasing tornadoes. They're called tornado chasers, and those bastards are crazy. But that's their favorite type of weather. They saw the movie Twister when they were young, and they saw the cow fly across the giant screen in the movie theater. A moo. And from then on out, they thought to themselves, I should go chase tornadoes. And it's like, well, okay. What was it? The Adventures of Pecos Bill? The Wild Adventures of Pecos Bill? And like Disney-ish movie came out a good ways a long time ago. Someone rode a tornado in that one, right? You can't ride tornadoes, okay? It was a movie, everybody. We're not saying go out there and try and ride a tornado. You don't know what kind of things you'll try to do because of this crazy show that is here, but just remember, any advice and things of that nature that we do shill out or give, generally speaking, would be a rule of thumb, maybe not to follow or make those decisions, but everyone has to interpret it for themselves and make their own choices and decisions pertaining to it. So, you have to live your own lives. We can't tell you how to do it for you. I mean, we can, but that's not our place. Anyhow, weather. People have their favorites. And in turn, you have to have the yin, you have to have the yang, you have to have the good, you have to have the bad. You have to have the happy, you have to have the sad, right? You have to have all these things. But we talked about people's favorite weather. What about people's least favorite weather? Oh, believe it or not, that exists too. People might be sunny day beach dwellers, and believe it or not, their least favorite weather is like snow. It's like, wow, if those aren't two opposite ends of the spectrum. Just like we said, the yin, the yang, the good, the bad. Okay? The good live streamers, the us. Okay? Crap. Huh? There has to be crap. Everything else has to be good. Or better. We call dibs on the ground floor level. The point is that whilst people have their favorite weather, their shiny stars, and they have their least favorite, down here with us, those snowy days, well, they're for someone. And if, believe you me, it's reverse and someone is a huge fan of the ice and snow and they love snowboarding, skiing, ice skating, all the wintry sports, I do the luge on Thursdays. I don't know, whatever they do. Believe it or not, sometimes their least favorite weather is nice sunny weather, like people at the beach enjoy, right? So you got the opposite ends of the spectrum, and inherently they just have to exist. You have folks, though, like us, that fall somewhere in the middle. We like it to be neutral weather, not too hot, not too cold, not too rainy, not rainy, I guess. I don't know. Does that mean fog or mist? I don't know. Not fog or mist, but, okay. Like okay weather. That's our favorite. We love okay weather. Not the hot or the snow? No, we just like okay weather. That's our favorite weather, is okay. The point is that people have their favorites, obviously, and people have their least favorites. And whilst a lot of times they're at odds with each other, it's almost like are a necessity to break up and make one or the other more enjoyable to have or to go through or to, be privy to, checking out or, being in. There's sometimes where no one wants to be in hot weather. They would rather be in an air-conditioned climate. There's times where no one wants to be in an air-conditioned climate. They want to be out in the snow, playing, building snow of the men. Put on the heater. We don't want to be in there. It's air-conditioned. Oh, okay, that was the problem. Well, okay, they don't want to be in an indoor heated building. They want to be outside playing in the snow. Okay? Look at kids at school on recess days where it's thunder and lightning outside, and the teachers are like, no playground for you. Here's some extra work. Like, what? Extra work? That's bobo. And, believe you me, it is. But you have, those nice days where they're like, yep, recess. They want those good days. Believe it or not, kids love to, play outside and stuff sometimes. Well, maybe not modern kids. Kids used to. Hell, I don't know. Someone screwed up somewhere. In generational gaps. We're going to point fingers one day. You might say a lot of boomers were distant and maybe checked out and stuff like that. Or maybe we're in the wrong boomer category. Maybe there should be 2 boomer categories. I don't know. Doesn't matter. What does matter is that the weather's constantly changing, and it's almost like a complete form of checks and balances that nature provides for itself. From continually going through the seasons to ensure that plants reach their vibrant, fruity nature in the springtime when they're lush and vibrant and providing fruity stuff, or, edible foody stuff, peppers and tomatoes and, lettuce that grows, whatever grows, your fruits, your blueberries, strawberries, boysenberries, blackberries, not the device, raspberries. All right, a lot of berries. Yeah, we can talk about that all day. Sorry. But if we were to talk about that all day, that would be a different episode. That's actually not a bad idea. Different berries. Believe you me, we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. But please don't. Huh? The point is that the seasons act as a checks and balance on themselves and with themselves, with which they can keep the life cycle going. Keep it, doing what it's supposed to do. Come full circle, come complete. What is the flower cycle? What? Seed, seedling, flower, fruit, and it dies. That's just life. And the weather helps to perfect that and make sure that it comes to fruition. Look at plants that drop the fruit that isn't harvested. Things like tomatoes and, whatnot. You have a tomato plant. If you don't harvest all the tomatoes and a little cherry tomato or something falls and plops, it can plant itself. And after the winter, after the fall, it will create itself anew. It will spring up into a new tomatoey plant with minimal to no aspect of any interaction affecting it. Okay? Maybe a little extra water, maybe some additional fertilizer to the soil or something, but no planting, no doing, no touching, and all of a sudden, you have fruit and life spring from it. Well, that's incredibly balanced for the weather cycle to do that all on its own. Even say you have a garden, things of that nature, and it's a super rainy week or, anything along those lines, well, nature and the weather just gave you a vacation. You mean I don't got to go out there and water crops today? Well, fantastic. That's great. I'm going to kick back and play this game I took off work for now. Damn it, the internet's down and I can't do my multi of the player. Weather can affect it multiple ways. The point is that, people have their favorites, people have their least favorites. Some jobs thrive on good aspects of weather. Some jobs, hate components of weather. Business owners at car washes probably aren't too hip on rainy season. Okay? or on circumstances where they aren't able to necessarily operate as a business efficiently, right? There's a lot of places that will, utilize their sales and proceeds from throughout the year to float themselves through the winter months, just like animals who store up food or hibernate do, right? You got an ice cream shop that does extremely well in the summer, and then all of a sudden winter comes and no one wants their ice cream. They need to plan on that, obviously, and decrease the employment in aspects or realms, and also pull back on maybe some of the orderings of products and things of that nature. Okay? And then they have to absorb that winter season where ice cream and things of that nature aren't high on one's list. All right? Businesses will pad themselves out and float themselves to operate throughout the entire year by maintaining a status of being open through the winter months by floating their operational costs from their summer profits. Okay? Ice cream shops in the winter are the prime example of that. Okay? So you have businesses that change their whole dynamic centered around weather, and you also have businesses that, as a business owner, you might inherently hate certain types of weather. Say you are a retail business owner and it's super stormy outside, or whatever, and people aren't coming to buy your retail. Obviously, as a business owner, if you're counting pennies every day and you're like, I need to get that deposit on that boat I wanted and that payment's due on my in-ground pool, people better come buy some shit, as you're watching your employees on the camera like you are the eye in the sky. I am the government of my own store. Hey, government! Anyhow, you have business owners that, definitely do not appreciate, do not like, do not care for different types of weather because it negatively affects their business. So whilst employees who work in those retail environments might be saying to themselves, selves, it's awesome that it's raining today, or that there's, all this horrible weather outside because no one's coming in to bother me. I can get some nothing done. I can, disappear from the sales of the floor and do not work. It's like, hell, you sure have been in the bathroom a lot today. Yeah, it's because I'm watching all of these awesome live streams from, Shyzabox on Punk Rock Review. It's like, oh, geez, why? Yeah, it's like, I don't know. To trick the feds. Huh? What? To have them look at you? I don't know. What? Anyhow, the point is that dynamics of an entire industry can be affected by two different aspects of that industry looking for the weather to do one thing or another, usually in opposite polar directions. Okay? Like we said, business owners, they want the good weather, they want the clients coming in, they want the stuff being purchased and bought and sold. You also have employees or management, maybe they, live up to, and they're trying to hit a bonus or things of that nature by sales numbers. Obviously, they're going to want the better sales, and they're going to want busier staff and busier crew and keep up with, all iotas in one way, shape, or form of the things that are, transpiring and happening, okay, on a daily retail, day-to-day basis, all right? They want that continual revenue, that continual stream, that continual flow of folks, all right? Now you have employees, okay, that pray for the weather to be horrible so that when they get to work, less and less people come in, less and less people are shopping, less and less people want to be out and about. Maybe not every day, maybe not every shift. Oh, that got cold. But, for a chunk of the time they're there, they kind of want to not be bothered with, work, right? So, whether you have components of a business that are desiring and craving the sales, whether you have components of a business that are wishing the sales would stay away so that everything's easier on them, people are always continually looking for weather to go one direction or another. And depending on the circumstance or the day in question or what you have to do or what you want to do, on the day in question, they all line up. You can have folks that work at a retail store that want crappy weather this Thursday because they're working, but then next Thursday they're scheduled off and they're trekking to the beach, and all of a sudden they don't want rainy weather. Now, obviously, management, the owners of the store, they want nice weather all the day. They don't care if you go to the beach on your day off, or if you're, working on a not day off, they want that repetitious sale volume coming in the door. They don't want customers to stay away because it's rainy, snowy, haily, sleety, okay? Or because you have a bunch of crack addicts out front the, store. You're like, tell your friends to go home. It's like, that's Shyzabox, man. I can't tell him to go home. He'll show up at my house. He'll go to my house, literally. Like, I barely got him to follow me to work. It's like, I don't know why we're such a problem. We wear a tie, We don't really scare people away from your business. If anything, you should give us a sign to hold and give us money. We'll be like, hey, come to this business. Be like, oh, no, I got to walk by you, sit. I don't know. Sorry. The point is that regardless of where you stand or, sit on the issue, or crouch, or kneel, or bend, or stoop, or jump, I don't know. However you address issues in whatever position you happen to find yourself, ergonomically. Was that word used right? I don't know. Probably not. But it probably was, or it could have been. So, doesn't matter. That don't matter. Anyhow, the point is that no matter how the business does it, no matter how the weather itself comes to fruition, you have people whose desire for it to go one way or another, always pulling in opposite directions, sometimes aligning in the same direction, but they're always based on, usually, one's individual cares or needs. So, like we had talked about earlier, when the Johnsons had the beach wedding, obviously, their cares or needs for all parties involved, including guests, were for good weather to line up, for everything to go off without a hitch. And it did. It lined up as well as it could have. But in another alternate reality and universe, a typhoon came by and blew our hat off. We're like, damn it, give us back our hat, typhoon. And it probably blew off the bride's veil too. And she's like, that was like $200 or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. The point is that people wanted good weather. We got good weather. And the event and ceremony went off a hitch. High five, Bob. Good ceremony. Point is that, no matter how you look at it, no matter what components one may desire for it to reach, what direction they want weather to go in as far as what's provided on a daily or regular basis, individuals and folks all adhere to the knowledge and the fact that whether it's simulation theory we reside in or not, 50-50 chance, right? Ooh, look at those predictions. We're right either way. No matter what the, situation, scenario, or anything like that is, weather is a continual aspect and part. And people allocate for it, accommodate it, wish for it, hope for the best pertaining to it, as well as, on occasion, hoping for it to be the worst. Now, we've seen some very nasty stuff that came out that's politically derived from inclement weather that affected some areas that folks may disagree with some of the political aspects and reasoning of residents. Okay? We've seen some extremely nasty things. And inherently, that just makes us sad. Not only, are we talking about people's lives and livelihood completely uprooted and affected by, inclement, horrible, atrocious weather, but then you have folks celebrating the fact And especially, anything pertaining to like the demise and destruction of entire communities and families ripped apart and, kids and things of that nature, man. I mean, that's just kind of atrocious, and we don't really like that. So people should be nicer to each other and everything like that. So, of course, you make your own decisions. You want to be a POS human individual, or maybe you're a lizard person, as they call, and you just want to be mean whenever a natural disaster occurs or strikes, strictly because you disagree with, someone's politics or something in the area surrounding it. We hope for ourselves, and we hope for those that we know most and best, to never push themselves in that direction to where they celebrate the demise and destruction of an entire area, culture, group of people because of the political reasoning or basis. If you were to disagree with an entire country's politics, and some people do, some people disagree with the U.S.'s politics, some people disagree with communist China, government, policies and stuff like that. But to want the eradication of an entire continent of people just based off of political reasoning and ideology, that doesn't seem very nice. And believe you me, it's not. So, the world needs to be nicer to itself, and it should be. The only thing that's about to get nicer for the world is we're out of coffee, and believe you me, that means that we're pretty much done with the show. So, the world will celebrate as we end the stream and everything like that. High five, Bob. The world's off to a better place. And we just hope that we left our mark on the internet of the zone well enough for all ones of people who watch it. Hi, Gemma. To, I don't know, give us those views or something. You don't even got to give us the view. Just click on it, mute it. Leave for work. Click on it, mute it. Go to bed. It all works out. We gets the view. And eventually the cheese that YouTube knows they wants to give us. Hey, YouTube, we're just looking for the cheese. Anyhow, that's about all we have for the weather today, even though we could sit and talk about it for hours upon hours on end. But now's your chance if you want to get out of here before us, of course, to depart before our presence. Otherwise, we will be dip-setting fairly soon. Also, it's your last chance to interact with a real-life, real crappy internet celebrity. So, speak now, or get out of here before us. Either way, we will give you one chance real quick while we wet our whistle. Excellent. Let's see all nuns of these comments that have come in. Ah, perfect. Well, that just means that, once again, there's no one to let down, because we've obviously said everything perfectly and no one has any additional questions on any of the stuff that we've said. So it obviously was all really good and should be appreciated by, pretty much everyone who sat through it and saw it, which was, like tons of people and everything. 1 million subscriberification, here we come. Any decade now. But we see that, unfortunately, with close to almost nearly coming up on 1 million of you in a couple decades, you're beginning to leave too many footprints on our lawn. So, we don't need your subscription, we want your money. Download the shit out of this and give us a buck. Get off our lawn!